Good morning to the CBC for us.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
You guys still sound like you're sleeping. Alright, our keynote is going to wake you up. His name is Dr. Lionel Laroche. He said it with more of a French accent, but I have to try. Alright, Lionel holds a PhD in chemical engineering from the California Institute of Technology, USA, and a diplôme de l'ingénieur polytechnicien from École Polytechnique du Paris, France. Thank you. Over the past 13 years, Lionel has provided cross-cultural training, coaching, and consulting services to a wide range of businesses, government, academic, professional, and non-profit organizations in 10 countries: Canada, the US, Bermuda, Mexico, Peru, Belgium, Switzerland, France, the UK, and China. The stamps in his passport. Lionel is a thought-provoking and educational speaker, facilitator who presented at over 200 conferences and events across Canada and the US. He regularly teaches at several Canadian and American universities, including the University of Toronto's MBA program at the Rotman School of Business. He is the author of 2 books and over 100 publications examining the impact of cultural differences on businesses at the organizational and individual level. His 2 books are entitled Managing Cultural Diversity in Technical Professions and Recruiting, Retaining, and Promoting Culturally Diverse Employees. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for Dr. Lionel Laroche.
So what we're going to talk about today is essentially what you all came in here to Canada, succeeding in Canada. So if I can have my PowerPoint, that would be great. Yes, perfect. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is succeeding in Canada. And what I want to start with is understanding really why we need a conference like this. So I'm going to talk about what I consider as the real issue that immigrants face when they are trying to get a job in the Canadian labor market. The way I like to describe it is like this: technical skills versus soft skills. What are technical skills? Well, if you're an engineer, it's your ability to do calculations. If you're an accountant, it's your ability to calculate taxes, things like that. Soft skills, it's your ability to work with people. Your ability to manage yourself, your own time, your own emotions, and so on. Conflict resolutions, presentation skills, a whole pile of skills. Alright? Most Canadian organizations will break down their workforce like this. We'll have low, medium, high on each axis. Now, if you think of the average immigrant who just lands at Pearson Airport, okay, where does he or she ends up on this diagram? Well, most immigrants, when they arrive in Canada, will end up in the top left corner. Why do we have high technical skills? Well, we have high technical skills fundamentally because of the point system of citizenship and immigration in Canada. You cannot come to Canada unless you have enough points. And so many points are allocated to education that amongst recent immigrants, the percentage of people with a bachelor's or more of education is actually quite higher, significantly higher than the percentage of people who have a bachelor's or more of education in Canadian population at large. Okay? So, compared with Canadian population at large, recent immigrants are a very educated bunch, and we have high technical skills. Why do we have low soft skills? Well, we have low soft skills fundamentally because soft skills are measured by cultural standards. So there's no point in the point system allocated to soft skills. So among immigrants who come to Canada, some have amazing soft skills by their own country standards, some have average soft skills by their own country standards, and some have terrible soft skills by their own country standards. Okay? I've seen the whole range. But no matter where you were, based on that skill back home, you end up on the low end of the spectrum when you arrive in Canada. That's exactly what happened to me when I came to Canada. When I was in France, I was considered as having high soft skills. I was the treasurer of the first career fair at my university, captain of my rowing team, and maître d' in a restaurant. All situations that require high soft skills. However, as soon as I stepped in Canada, my soft skills went from high to low. I didn't change. But what changed was the criteria that the people around me were using to measure my soft skills. Okay? And if you've worked with people from France, you've probably noticed it. Okay? It's when I was giving negative feedback. French negative feedback is blasting by Canadian standards. Where a Canadian will say, oh, it's a good report, you may want to look at section 3 some more, but overall good work. A French person will tell you, redo section 3, it's wrong. It's the same message. You got to work on section 3 some more, but it is delivered so differently that when I worked at Procter & Gamble, no technician wanted to report to me. I wish I was kidding. Now, the crux of the matter is the relative weights that we place on technical skills and soft skills. Alright? When I look at Canadian organizations and I do the average of all professional jobs, so my definition of professional is anybody who needs a bachelor to do their job. So whether it's an engineer, an accountant, a nurse, an HR professional, IT professional, these are all professionals. Okay? If I look at all professional jobs in Canada, what I find is the relative weights placed on technical skills and soft skills are roughly 50-50. It depends on your profession. Technical skills matter more to an engineer or an architect than they do to a nurse or a social worker. I think we'll agree on that. But if I do the average over all jobs, I find roughly 50-50. There's another very important point in the Canadian context. How does the weight placed on soft skills change as you move up in an organization in Canada? Well, it actually goes up. Okay? The higher you are in a Canadian organization, the more important soft skills become to your success. Alright? So, using 50-50 as the relative weights, then what I find is lines of equal value are essentially diagonal. What do I mean by lines of equal value? Well, the person at the top left corner, so the recent immigrant, brings as much value to an organization as someone in the middle of the diagram or somebody in the bottom right corner of the diagram. Okay? Why? Because we weigh technical skills and soft skills equally. What is the situation in our home countries? Alright? So, one of the characteristics that pretty much all our home countries, that includes mine, France, okay, have compared with Canada is our home countries are hierarchical. Okay? Back home, the boss is the boss is the boss. Which part don't you understand? Okay? And there's way more emphasis placed on technical